What's up, everybody? Nate here from Out of the Basement, bringing you a brand new action figure review. Today we are taking a look at the Amazon exclusive Chewbacca and C-3PO set. This is from Star Wars, the Black Series, the 6-inch line. And of course, this is the latest exclusive. This just recently released on Amazon. For those who pre-ordered super early, I was one of those people, and I was honestly surprised when it showed up on my doorstep. I was expecting it to come later in the year. The expected date, I believe, was like the 24th of December, so I think a select few people who pre-ordered early enough ended up getting this one. So I'm super excited to take a look at it. Of course, we get a new Chewbacca head and a new C-3PO in this one, so it's nothing too terribly exciting, but of course, the main draw is that you can net C-3PO on the back of Chewbacca like in Empire Strikes Back. So that's a pretty cool scene, pretty cool moment, and we're going to see how it translates into action figure form. Of course, this also comes at an increased price of $49.99, so we're going to have to keep that in mind when we are looking at what is essentially a 2-pack. So taking a look at the box here, you can see on the side there's no number because it is an exclusive, and if you would like to read the back bio for Chewbacca and C-3PO, there it is. Go ahead and pause it, read it there. Nice shot of Chewbacca and C-3PO. Not really a whole lot to say about the packaging, so let's go ahead. We're going to get this open, take a look at the accessories, and then the figures themselves. Okay, so for accessories, you get this nice netted bag, which we're going to see how much of a problem it is to actually strap this to Chewbacca in a little bit. It seems like it's going to be a really tight fit, so we're going to see how that goes. But yeah, this is just like a little net bag to put C-3PO in. We also get a standard E11 blaster with this set, and it is the standard all black plastic with a little bit of silver there. So, you know, at least we got the little bit of paint apps, but it's nothing we haven't seen 1,000 times before. We also get a pair of legs for C-3PO, so you can actually interchange his body parts out. You can see this is what C-3PO looks like outside of the net, outside of the packaging. He has these alternate arms and legs on. These on his legs just kind of slide out, and you can just plug his regular legs back in if you so choose. And this one's actually nice and warped, so that's really cool. Came warped that badly out of the packaging. So we got his legs back on, and then the arms just pull out like that. So they do appear to plug in pretty easily, and there you go. You can also have an alternate C-3PO action figure if you so choose to take these little pieces out. So let's take a close look at these little pieces here, and you can see they're mostly just black sculpted plastic with a little bit of paint on there. The paint could be a lot better. It's pretty sloppy, and it's just kind of like slapdashed wherever, or at least so it would seem. Same thing on this one. The painting is a little bit more clean. It's not so quite haphazard, but nothing too terribly exciting about these. And then the two leg pieces here, also better painted, and they have a little bit more sculpt work to them, and they're nice and soft. Nothing too terribly crazy going on with either of them, but it is a nice touch. It is a nice feature for the actual set, and of course I think is the main draw of the set. So in terms of accessories, that's really kind of it. There's not a whole lot of accessories. I wouldn't really consider alternate arms and legs for C-3PO to be accessories really, but you do get the two options. But like I said, of course the main draw of this set is to have C-3PO on Chewbacca's back like in the movie, but it is a nice touch that you can reattach the limbs and have sort of a dirty Empire Strikes Back C-3PO with the updated articulation like we saw with C-3PO and Babu Frick. So that is also a nice touch because that updated articulation is really cool for C-3PO. But yeah, taking a close look at C-3PO here, since I guess we got him in hand, we can just take a look at him. You can see that he does have some nice dirt effects on him that do look pretty cool. Gives him just a little bit more dimension as he is a little bit dirty at the end of Empire. Let's see. Oh, no, the back of the head is closed shut. Doesn't open up like the Babu Frick one, which I wasn't expecting it to, but I just wanted to see if it did. You can see the classic wiring and everything on the inside of C-3PO. looks pretty nice. I think the gold is decent. It's nice and reflective, but it's a little bit darker since it's the Empire one. And I will compare this C-3PO to the other one a little bit later in the video. But for right now, I just figured we would take a look at C-3PO since we were putting him together and had him in hand. Of course, you got the silver leg there as well. So now we'll take a detailed look at Chewbacca. All right, and here is Chewie, and right off the bat, you'll notice he has a more Empire Strikes Back head sculpt, which is my preferred look for Chewie, so I'm happy that we finally have an Empire Chewie. Just something about those eyebrows really just made the character look just a little bit different, but in the right kind of ways. But other than that, this is just the same Chewie we've seen over and over again. The body is the same Chewie that we've seen time and time again. The paint scheme is a little bit different for Empire Strikes Back Chewbacca, which I'll be comparing him to the Blue Line A New Hope Chewbacca and the Solo Chewbacca later in the video, so you can see just the minor paint details and differences. But overall, I think the Chewbacca body isn't so bad. It probably could use a little bit of an update. I think the sculpt work is nice. The paint application is pretty decent, although the blending of the fur colors is a little bit abrasive. There's not really a whole lot of transition between the paint that's on the figure and then just the sculpted plastic. So it does look a little jarring, if I'm going to be completely honest, but his bandolier bag sash looks nice as always. It's got really clean silver paint application throughout the belt, and you can see even the buttons on the inside holding those doodads together are very cleanly painted. The bag also looks nice and does appear to have a slight black wash over it as well to give it some extra dimension, and you can see the textured bag look just to give it a little bit more of a dirty, used look at this point in the Star Wars story. And of course, we do have some nice little silver buckles down there as well. And the application on the bandolier continues to the back, where it does definitely get a little bit sloppier. You can see right up there at the shoulder. Paint is definitely slopped on there. But that's on the back of the figure. At least the front side is super clean. And those new details on the bag do look really nice. So while this Chewie may not be anything too exciting or new, I would say it's definitely nice to finally have a really good looking Empire Strikes Back Chewie. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's go ahead. We're going to take a look at the articulation for C-3PO and Chewbacca. Okay, so for Chewbacca, his head can look up just a little bit and can look down pretty much not at all. You do get some side to side and rotation. But because of the sculpt of the head, as we all know, we've seen this figure for the most part 1,000 times. The articulation is going to be limited due to the design. His shoulders can move out really far, and of course you do get the rotation on them as well. The single jointed elbows work to give you a little bit less than 90 degrees, and you also get the swivel at the elbow. The hands can rotate around and do have horizontal hinges on both sides, so no vertical hinge for the trigger finger, although he does kind of have both hands as trigger fingers. But if you just do a little posing, you can see Chewbacca can actually hold the E11 with both hands, no problem at all. I think that looks pretty good. So the articulation does hold up, at least when you want to have him holding the gun with both hands. He also has an ab crunch, which goes forward just a little bit and goes back just a little bit. And of course, you also get rotation and side to side. His legs can move out just about that far. This definitely blocks the articulation. The sculpt work is soft, but it's not too soft. I guess he actually does have cuts in the side here to give you a little bit more range, but really you're not going to be doing Kung Fu Chewie. Of course, he does have thigh swivel, which is actually really loose. Single jointed knees that work perfectly. You get 90 degrees out of that. His feet can move down just a little bit, can't really move up at all, but he does have ankle pivot, and the details around his feet are soft enough to where you can still get that slight range of movement out of it, which is good enough. Oh, and he does also have a swivel at the knee. Moving on to C-3PO here, you can see his head can look down just a little bit and can look up just a little bit. You do also get rotation and a very small amount of side to side. His arms can move out pretty far, all the way to the top. Of course, they're going to fall out because you got to pop them in. You do get full rotation, and the shoulder link right here moves right along because it is a separated piece. Single jointed elbows that give you 90 degrees, of course, and then you can extend them out just a little bit further like that. The updated arm articulation is really nice on C-3PO. Of course, you do have a hinge at the wrist, and of course it swivels. The chest piece, you're on a ball joint here, so he can crunch back really far and go forward just a little bit. And of course, you do get that rotation and all that good stuff in there. The legs, you have a thigh swivel where the joint connects. The single jointed knee, that gives you less than 90 degrees, but you can also move it out a little bit forward if you wanted to do that. The feet can go down pretty far. They also go up an okay amount, and you do get ankle pivot out of that. So this literally is, besides the paint apps, just the C-3PO figure we literally just took a look at a couple videos ago, which is fine with me. Didn't expect to be getting so many C-3POs in such a short period of time, but this one's going to be definitely displayed in the net on Chewie's back. So let's go ahead. We're going to compare these figures to some other Black Series figures, some other iterations of the characters, and then we will get into the bag zone. Okay, so here we have the 3 Chewbaccas that I own. We have the Solo Chewbacca and the Blue Line Chewbacca, and you can actually see there is a height difference here. The Empire Strikes Back Chewie is actually a little bit shorter. I know I've recently seen some people complaining that Chewie is too tall, specifically this one. I never really noticed that myself, but yeah, you can actually see the Empire Strikes Back one is a little bit shorter, and the Solo one looks to be just about the same height. And you can see that they have various paint color schemes. Of course, the Empire Strikes Back one is definitely a lot lighter than A New Hope, which I don't exactly know how accurate that is off the top of my head, but that seems a little off to me. Of course, this figure is super old at this point, so it would probably lead me to believe that this is more of the inaccurate look. And then the Solo Chewbacca, we have the stripes all through the fur, which I like the Solo Chewbacca figure actually quite a bit. Then we've also got Chewie here next to Bespin Han and Hoth Leia. Then we've got him with Boba Fett and Wedge. And finally, the regular Mandalorian and Heavy Mandalorian. Then here is C-3PO with the Mandalorians, Han and Leia, the other Chewbaccas. Then finally, the old Empire Strikes Back, Walgreens C-3PO versus the new one. And man, what a night and day difference. The newer C-3PO just completely blows the old one out of the water. The updated articulation, I think the gold is a little bit more accurate. He's a little less shiny in Empire. So really it is a nice improvement, but of course we've got to display him in the net. So let's go ahead and do that. Good gravy. Now I know what Mike Case was talking about when he said that the net is one of the most annoying things in the Black Series. This is so hard to put C-3PO back in here. Oh my gosh. These little thingies, all the wires and stuff poking out are not meshing well with the mesh. I'm trying to get him in the bottom and it's just so annoying. Okay, we've got some progress here. They also include instructions on what to do in case you are a little bit confused, so it's kind of a nice touch. I don't know where C-3PO's arm is supposed to go, but we'll just go ahead and drop it on the floor. This is an actual nightmare. Okay, so something like that, according to the illustration, is what's supposed to be happening right now, but it's so tiny. It's like the bag doesn't have enough give. It needs to come more into the back. Operation put C-3PO in the bag. Oh my god, this looks horrible. I guess the good news is, for the most part, Chewie at least stands up pretty easily with C-3PO on his back. That was one concern that I definitely had. Try and fit this underneath the fur part. Okay, that's not horrible. That is not horrible. I don't know if that's 100% movie accurate. I'd have to really look at a picture closely, but Holy crap, that took way longer than it should have to actually get C-3PO and everything in the bag how it's supposed to be. But thankfully, Chewie is standing just fine with this extra weight on his back, so that is very good in my book. Let's put him on the stand and let's give our final thoughts on this figure set. All right, so here we are with Chewbacca on the stand, and what a dang nightmare it was to get C-3PO in that frickin' net. But here we are finally with both of them together, and I gotta say I really like it now. All that trouble was 100% worth it. He's standing on my rotating base just fine. Even with the extra weight on his back, Chewbacca is holding his own, which is really, really nice. Again, that was like my main concern with this figure. Of course, I'm going to have to tweak it a little bit to make it a little bit more movie accurate with how C-3PO is arranged on Chewbacca's back. But just for the sake of the video, for the sake of trying to get it as close as I can possibly remember it, and kind of how they have it on the diagram here, this is what I got. So overall, is this set really necessary? Not really, but again, I honestly think this could be a really good entry point for someone who is just getting into the Black Series that doesn't have a Chewbacca or a C-3PO, because you can get a 2-for-1 special right here, and you also have the option of putting it in the net like this for a really cool, memorable moment from Empire. Of course, the Chewbacca figure is the one we've seen a million times before, but the details on the bag and the new head sculpt is really nice. And of course, I'm a little bit biased towards Empire Strikes Back Chewbacca. Same thing with C-3PO. He is updated with the new articulation that we've seen on the C-3PO with Babu Frick, so that is a really nice choice. I'm glad that they gave us the updated articulation, because it is nice for C-3PO to actually be able to bend his elbows somewhat. Overall, I'd say if this is going to be your 4th or 5th C-3PO or Chewbacca, I could definitely see you passing on this set. But I think most Black Series collectors are going to pick this one up no matter what, just because of the net and the added bonus stuff for C-3PO. So I don't know, I'm really torn on this figure set. On one hand, it's nothing special, it's figures we've seen before, it's almost 100% reuse, but on the other hand, it's a really cool movie moment, and the added details that come with C-3PO and the new Chewie head are really nice. So honestly, I'm going to leave this one up to you guys. I can't make the call whether to recommend it or not. Obviously, I picked it up, so take that for what you will. But yeah, that is the Chewbacca C-3PO 2-pack, the Amazon exclusive. What do you guys think of this figure set? Are you going to pick it up? Let's talk Star Wars in the comments down below. Of course, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about adult collectible action figures, movies, and Blu-rays. We also have a weekly action figure podcast where we mostly talk about Star Wars and the Black Series. But those come out every Friday. A link to our playlist for that will be in the description if you are interested. So, thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Nate from Out of the Basement. I will see you guys next time.